Hey, is this the first ball we got?
What?
Can I feel it? We're gonna do it first. We gotta start that off first. Let's beat the hammer, not the nail.
And people are none too pleased. You look at this right here. Browns fans, one head coach fired for post-game comment about Shedeur Sanders.
Cleveland fans are officially at DEFCON 1, and not because the Browns blew a game. No, this time the outrage is aimed at head coach Kevin Stefanski, who seemed to swap his playbook for a Hallmark card when talking about Shedeur Sanders. Now, the city's sharpening pitchforks, eyeing Lake Erie for a headset toss, and daydreaming about resurrecting the ghost of a winning season. Strap in, this storyline's packing more twists and caffeine-fueled drama than a daytime soap that forgot how to end an episode.
Let's go.
Hey, special teams, Spooky, takeaway.
Get it, Book. What up, Book? Book.
On defense, Nick, takeaway.
Yeah. Now, what I love is my man right here getting therapy right now. Y'all.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. Browns fans are in full-blown meltdown mode, and for once, it's not about a botched field goal, busted coverage, or the franchise's notorious quarterback injury curse. No, this latest outrage has a fresh target, head coach Kevin Stefanski, who somehow managed to unite Cleveland under one mission, showing him the door. The spark? A set of comments about Shedeur Sanders that fans are calling the softest, most uninspired take ever uttered about a player who hasn't even set foot in the NFL yet. In a city starving for fire, Stefanski's words felt more like lukewarm tap water.
Man, it's a shame, dawg. Shedeur went out there and shined, you hear me? He showed up and showed out at the end of the day. And Kevin Stefanski, you haven't developed not one quarterback. Look what you did to Baker Mayfield. You hear me? I'm not understanding your infatuation with Dylan Gabriel. You hear me? Mr. CTFN. You hear me? Can't throw for nothing. I don't understand.
From the fans' perspective, Stefanski had a golden opportunity to walk in with fire in his eyes and a message that would make the entire locker room snap to attention. He could have radiated unshakable confidence, delivered a bold declaration, and shown the brand of leadership that makes players want to run through walls. Instead, they got a bland, cookie-cutter quote ripped straight from the NFL press conference bingo card, polite, polished, and instantly forgettable. It carried zero edge, zero passion, zero spark. And in Cleveland, where grit and guts are the currency, playing it that safe isn't just uninspiring, it's the quickest way to let down an entire city in one shot.
You get hired somewhere as an offensive coordinator real fast, not in this hiring cycle, but certainly next year, immediately, as soon as we got done with this season. It's too late now.
Browns fans have officially had it. They're done with Hallmark slogans, empty promises, and the kind of bland, corporate speak you'd expect in an HR training video. They want fire. They want a coach who will grab this team by the face mask, metaphorically or, at this point, maybe literally, and make it painfully clear that this is their year. Instead, what they got was Kevin Stefanski delivering remarks with the urgency of someone leisurely sipping chamomile tea, speaking in a gentle hush like he's trying not to wake a newborn. That's not leadership in Cleveland's book. Around here, that's a bedtime story, and the last thing this city needs is to be lulled to sleep while the season's on the line.
Yeah, it's a positive data point, Christine. Obviously, there are quarterbacks that kind of do better when the lights come on, and it's a game situation. And if the Browns wondered that about Shedeur Sanders, then this past weekend answered it in a positive way. So
the frustration has been simmering for a while now. Yes, Stefanski earned Coach of the Year in 2020, and yes, he guided the Browns to their first playoff win in nearly 20 years. But Cleveland isn't the kind of town that hands out lifetime passes for past glory. It's a blue-collar, grinded-out city where yesterday's victory is just the starting point for today's work. When the stakes rise, fans expect their coach to bring grit and conviction, especially when talking about a name like Shedeur Sanders, who's already grabbing headlines and stirring hype before even stepping onto an NFL field.
In a way that fans are happy, and now they're calling for his head. A lot of people have been sending me this video like, dog, you gotta break this down. So we're gonna break this down because what Kevin Stefanski did is actually par for the course. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear.
Now, here's where things get even more intense. Shedeur Sanders isn't even on the Browns roster. He's not their quarterback, not their problem, not their solution, not their anything right now. And yet, somehow, the mere whisper of his name, whether it's in draft speculation, media questions, or fan chatter, is enough to spark a wildfire of conversation. The guy's been in the spotlight since day one at Colorado, showing off the kind of talent, poise, and swagger that NFL front offices can't help but notice. He's got the arm, the confidence, and the big game moments on tape to make scouts salivate. So when Kevin Stefanski was asked about him, Browns fans expected at least something resembling excitement. A hint of enthusiasm. A flicker of recognition that Sanders is a serious prospect. Instead, what they got was a response so lukewarm it could have been mistaken for someone reading from a DMV pamphlet. It wasn't exactly dismissive, but it wasn't inspiring either, more like the kind of vague, play-it-safe answer you give when you want the conversation to go away. And for Browns Nation, that's a problem. Because to them, a coach's public words aren't just filler for a press conference, they set the tone. They show intent, ambition, and direction.
Sanders. And more specifically, Kevin Stefanski. Now, you guys know I actually kind of like Stefanski. I mean, 2 playoff appearances with the Browns. Just say that out loud. All right? 2 playoff appearances with the Browns. Supposed to be a bit of a quarterback guru. That's how he's known. It's no secret if he got fired today, he'd get hired.
When Stefanski's tone came across as non-committal, fans didn't hear, "We're keeping our options open." They heard, "We're not interested," or, worse, "We have no plan." In a city that's lived through decades of quarterback chaos, that kind of vagueness isn't just frustrating, it's borderline insulting. To them, it looked like Stefanski was either asleep at the wheel or already trying to dodge future responsibility. And in Cleveland, that's a fast track to losing the room. And for Browns fans who've spent decades living through a carousel of failed rebuilds, they don't want white flags. They want someone who plants a flag right in the middle of the AFC North battlefield and declares they're here to win. It's not just about Shedeur. This incident tapped into a bigger, ongoing frustration, the perception that Stefanski plays it too safe. His game plans often lean conservative when fans want aggressiveness. His press conferences tend to sound like they were drafted by a PR intern. And his in-game decisions sometimes feel like he's trying to avoid mistakes more than he's trying to win.
For the game, I'm one of those people that I believe that he should have been one of the top 2 quarterbacks picked in this past draft. I certainly don't believe he should have fell to the 5th round. I definitely think that he has the potential to be the starter for the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland has seen this movie before, and the ending has never been pretty. The city has had more than its fair share of coaches who seemed allergic to taking bold swings when the game was on the line, and fans are tired of it. In a blue-collar sports town like this, losing is one thing, it's part of the game, and most die-hard Browns fans can handle it. What they can't handle is the feeling that their head coach is more interested in managing headlines than managing a win. If you're going to go down, at least go down fighting. Play to win, not to avoid criticism. That's why Kevin Stefanski's recent comments have hit such a nerve. They came off less like the words of a fiery competitor and more like a PR consultant trying to massage the narrative. And when you layer that onto the ongoing national fascination with Shedeur Sanders, the reaction becomes almost inevitable. Sanders is one of the most polarizing young figures in sports, adored by fans who love his swagger and self-belief, but dismissed by critics who see those same traits as arrogance. Meanwhile, Browns fans are watching other franchises aggressively chase, develop, and celebrate young talent. They see teams taking risks, making moves, and building for the future. In contrast, Cleveland's leadership feels like it's stuck in first gear, revving the engine but never actually hitting the road. That's a tough pill to swallow for a fanbase that's waited decades for a consistent winner. The frustration isn't just about one player or one comment, it's about a growing sense that the Browns are letting opportunities slip by while other teams seize the moment. And in the NFL, hesitation often costs more than a bad gamble.
Kevin Stefanski under fire for his post-game locker room comments and his post-game press conference comments about Shedeur Sanders, or lack thereof. He didn't talk about Shedeur Sanders.
The narrative now is that Stefanski's comments were symbolic of his entire tenure, cautious, polished, and lacking the kind of spark that inspires a city to believe. Even if that's unfair, perception is reality in sports, and the perception right now is brutal. The loudest voices on social media aren't just calling him out, they're calling for his job. Memes are flying. Talk radio is eating this up like it's Thanksgiving dinner. You've got callers saying things like they'd rather see anyone else in that headset, from a high school coach to a random Madden player who calls aggressive plays every down. And while it's easy to dismiss some of that as emotional overreaction, after all, Cleveland fans have a flair for the dramatic, there's no denying the anger is real. They're tired of feeling like the Browns are always one step behind. They're tired of waiting for the bold move that never comes. And they're tired of seeing other teams take risks while their own coach seems content to keep everything beige. The Shedeur situation was just the latest spark. If it hadn't been this, it might have been something else, a conservative fourth down decision, a confusing timeout call, or another flat press conference after a loss. The fan base has been simmering, and this was the boil-over moment.
The reason why they're on the all-brat team is because there's so much confliction on whether or not they're actually good or if the game doesn't matter. You know, because you see Shedeur up there, our captain.
Yeah.
Captain, oh captain.
Climbing. Yep.
Just doing everything.
Putting his head down.
Walking into the stadium, music playing.
Yep.
Some defenders of Stefanski point out that he's had to navigate a minefield of injuries, constant quarterback changes, and front office decisions that aren't always in his control. And yes, that's absolutely true. But here's the hard reality in professional sports: excuses rarely matter to the people paying for tickets, jerseys, and overpriced stadium nachos. Fans want results, and more importantly, they want a leader who radiates confidence and conviction even when the walls are crumbling. Right now, for many in Cleveland, Stefanski doesn't feel like that guy. The thing about Browns fans is that they're not unrealistic, they don't demand perfection, but they absolutely demand passion. They'll stand behind a flawed coach who clearly bleeds orange and brown, who shows visible fire on the sideline, who isn't afraid to take a bold stance even if it rattles a few cages. What they can't rally around is a leader who appears detached or overly diplomatic in moments that call for raw emotion. They want someone who will publicly take ownership, not just quietly handle it in the locker room, and wear the weight of the team's performance in full view.
Your first game? Yeah, I was at the bar watching it. A lot of upset, you know what I'm saying, people around there. A lot of people did not want to see him, you know what I'm saying, be successful. I've seen a lot of, like, it's just a preseason. If he'd have fucked up, y'all have been talking crazy about Shedeur, show some respect.
Instead, they feel like they've got someone who's mastered the fine art of speaking in circles, delivering enough words to fill a press conference without actually committing to a single strong opinion. It's the kind of diplomatic dodge that might keep the media wolves distracted for a week or two, but it's not the kind of thing that inspires a die-hard fan base that's been through every high, low, and soul-crushing heartbreak imaginable. Browns fans don't just want their coach to keep the peace, they want fire, swagger, and a clear signal that he's ready to go to war for his team. And let's be real, this isn't happening in some quiet, forgiving corner of the NFL map. The AFC North is a full-on meat grinder. Every team in that division packs talent, confidence, and coaches who will happily toss a little trash talk into the mix just to get under your skin. It's a high-stakes arms race of grit and attitude, and if your coach sounds more like he's narrating a cozy Sunday cooking show than preparing for a bare-knuckle brawl, you're already starting behind.
Hey, what did we do? Yeah, man, very playful way to go ahead and get at Tony Grossi. Like let's really be honest here, right? Like, this isn't, you know, he's not going over the top, he's not doing too much, but I do appreciate him going up, knowing how the media goes, knowing how he's handled things, knowing how professional he's done, and when you see things, just in case you don't know, when you see things like this.
That's exactly why the Shedeur Sanders comments landed like a gut punch. It wasn't just the substance, it was the tone. Fans were straining to hear conviction, something that sounded like their head coach was ready to go to battle with them, but instead, they got a dose of cautious politeness. It was less, we're going to dominate, and more, we value everyone's contributions and will continue to monitor the situation. Cleveland fans wanted a verbal fist pump, the kind of fiery declaration that sends chills down your spine and makes you believe the team's about to bulldoze the competition. Instead, they got something closer to a corporate mission statement you'd find in a glossy annual report. And in Cleveland, where football pride runs as deep as the Cuyahoga River and patience runs thinner than a kicker's excuse after a missed field goal, that's all it takes for people to start imagining pink slips with the coach's name already printed in bold. Now, is firing Stefanski mid-season realistic? Probably not. But here's the thing, the Browns aren't exactly known for their calm, calculated approach when it comes to coaching changes. They've pulled the plug mid-season before, and it's often been messy. And while history says it rarely ends well, the current chorus of discontent is growing louder by the day. In today's sports world, perception matters almost as much as results, and right now, the perception in Cleveland is that their coach just doesn't have the fire fans are desperate to see.
Shedeur said all the right things last night as expected after a great preseason debut. Let's take a listen to what Shedeur had to say.
I mean, God's patient with us as humans. We mess up at times, but I don't feel like he throw us away as individuals. So it's different things and different life lessons, you got to go through. And I haven't went through this situation, that I'm in ever. So it's really just a test, I feel like from God.
And here's the kicker, Shedeur himself might never have anything to do with the Browns. This could all be a weird footnote in Cleveland sports history, the time a draft prospect's name somehow set off a chain reaction of frustration that led to fans demanding change. But it's a perfect illustration of how fragile the relationship between a fanbase and a coach can be. One misstep, or in this case, one perceived misstep, can ignite all the frustrations that have been lurking just below the surface. In a way, that's the beauty and the curse of football in a city like Cleveland. The fans care too much to let anything slide. They notice everything. They remember everything. And they're not afraid to let their feelings be known, loudly and repeatedly. If Stefanski survives this storm, and he might, because the NFL is nothing if not unpredictable, it'll be because he found a way to change the conversation. That could mean pulling off a statement win, making a gutsy call in a big moment, or finally delivering a press conference that makes people sit up instead of nod off. Until then, though, he's in the crosshairs. And every safe, cautious comment will be picked apart, memed to death, and added to the case against him.
It's a whole lot.
He is.
I was one of those guys who, like I said, I wasn't a fan of Shedeur. I questioned how he went about things in interviews.
Yeah.
But after watching how much people hating how bad they want to see him fall, I'm all the way on the other side now.
Yeah,
I want to see him win everything. I thought he was going to get picked in the first round.
The Browns season will keep rolling, Shedeur Sanders will keep lighting it up in college, and the NFL rumor mill will keep spinning like it's fueled by triple espresso. But right now, Cleveland has a brand new rallying cry, and it's not a polite one. Fans are fed up with the weak comments, the overly cautious play calling, and the kind of leadership that feels more like crisis PR than genuine fire. This is a city that thrives on grit, passion, and unapologetic competitiveness, not carefully crafted press conferences that could double as corporate memos. If Kevin Stefanski doesn't absorb that message loud and clear, he may find himself hearing a different sound by season's end, the roar of a frustrated fan base and the rumble of a franchise ready to hand the keys to someone else. In Cleveland, patience wears thin quickly, and when the crowd turns, it turns fast.